Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nur Masita from semester 6. So today I'm going to present a slide about critical evaluations of the evidence on intervention that integrate motor learning principle for children with cerebral palsy. Moving on to introduction. The first is to critically evaluate, compare, and synthesize the study between two articles by Buitrego et al. In 2020 and Schneckers et al. In 2018. Second, to subsequently enable to conclude which intervention approach will be preferred for child with CP and identify the gap between the study. Lastly, to provide reason and evidence that support the preferred intervention. Next is definitions of motor learning. It is a series of internal processes that associate with practice and experience, which in context of acquiring a specific skill will produce relatively permanent changes in how motor activity is induced, according to Buitrego in 2020. On to definitions of cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy describes a group of permanent disorders in the development of movement and posture that cause activity limitation, and these disorders are attributed to non-progressive disturbances that occur in the developing fetal or infant brain, according to Buitrego in 2020. Next, cerebral palsy is a group of neurodevelopmental disorders of movement and posture, according to Schneckers in 2018. For the study's objective, first is to validate the effectiveness of 16-session physical therapy program to improve the participation and fulfillment of therapeutic objectives on an 8-year-old boy with dyskinetic cerebral palsy for motor learning to walk using a social assistive robot, according to Buitrego in 2020, and to improve the bimanual skills of the child while minimizing the increase of therapy-related parental stress, according to Schneckers in 2018. Moving on to critical article evaluation. So for article 1, the type of study design is single case study. Meanwhile, for article 2 is a protocol study. So for article 1, the researcher only needs to study one single thing, for instance, a person from a specific group or a single group. And this is the best alternative, which the researcher can question all theoretical relationships and explore new one. Because of that, more careful study is made, thus get a deeper understanding of the subject, according to Gustafsson in 2017. And according to Crow in 2011, case study approach usually involve the collection of multiple sources of evidence, use a range of quantitative and qualitative techniques. So the use of a multiple source of data has been advocated as a method to increase the internal validity of the study. So for article 2, for protocol study, using TDIR guide and TDIR checklist, which is to help authors to describe the interventions in adequate detail to allow their replications. And this checklist comprise the minimum recommended item for portraits and intervention. So the relevant for utmost intervention and appropriate to even apparently simple drug intervention, which are sometimes poorly described. Okay. The elements of an evaluation of interventions, the population, intervention, comparison, and outcome, PICO. And TDIR can be seen as a guide for reporting the intervention and comparisons, the elements of a study, according to Hoffman. And also, according to Hoffman, intervention or parts of it might not be carried as planned, thus affecting the reliability of the intervention. For instance, there might be some parts of the interventions that participants do not like, and this will influence their obedience, and the method in which will the intervention reliability is reported will reflect the measure used to assess it. For study setting, for article 1, possibly in clinical setting or rehab center, and it is easier to conduct and result can be obtained directly right or after the intervention. And there could be numerous reasons for reduced translation into clinical practice, including safety regulation, prohibitive cost of devices, or clinician bias, but it leaves a gap in understanding of the efficacy of robotic devices in typical clinical setting, according to Sukal Moulton in 2014. For article 2, study setting is home, and previous RCT study, home setting might increase the accessibility of rehab to a large number of children and young people with unilateral CP. For example, participants that live far from the clinical center with a large range of hand impairment, according to study by Sagundra in 2018. And according to study protocol by Sagundra, it can provide user-friendly AOT programs at home, offer individualized and intensive training, economical and efficient rehabilitation program by achieve significant long-lasting effect in upper limb activity and participation through an easily implementable paradigm that could become essential part of common clinical practice. Next is participant inclusion and exclusion criteria. For Article 1, is 8 years old boy, has dyskinetic CP, level 3 in GMFCS, MACS and CFCS, and child does not have any health complication, able to interact with environment and understand the immediate context. So based on previous study by Koyavskin in 2014 that used the Kindron robot, Friedin 2014 that used RACCP Fun robot, and Meges 2013 that used Asus robot has report CP child were motivated during the therapy session and had positive interactions with the human robot. And child also imitate the movements demonstrated by the robot without any hesitations or difficulty, according to Chen in 2017. Meanwhile, for Article 2 is child with unilateral spastic CP aged 2 to 7 years, MACS level 1 to 3 and GMFCS level 1 to 3. And child do not find this kind of therapy motivate, not receive training with adequate duration and intensity, which potentially leads to reduced therapeutic effect, according to El Shami. And study by Bakers in 2021 also has report parent-related outcomes showed a tendency toward reduction of both therapy-related and generic parental stress during home-based training. This may be attributed to the novel role of remedial educationalists in the program who coach the parents in address difficult behavior and problems in emotion regulation, motivation, and sustained attention of the child. Next, for study procedure for Article 1, based on a recent previous study by Abdul Malik in 2017, which also used the same type of robot, humanoid robot will accomplish interactive scenarios, concentrate on repetitive motion, training with an objective to improve the truncal balance, coordination, and lower limb growth function of children with CP, and increase child enthusiasm. This robot will able to aid the child to be extra active and driven during the interactive session. Meanwhile, for Article 2, based on previous study by Fear 2017 has shown one possible reason is that absenteeism of person supervision. Children demonstrate bimanual improvement, caregiver administration happen in person, and supervisor could easily model activities and provide feedback. Next, for variables or parameter analyze. For Article 1, the independent variable is now robot assistant. Dependent variable is number of steps in children. For Article 2, independent variable is home-based bimanual training, and dependent variable is child performance. Next is outcome measures. For Article 1, the outcome measure used is SMART, GDT, Goal-Directed Therapy, and GAS, which is Goal Attainment Scale. And recent study by Baxilius in 2018, the overall quality of examined goals set in clinical practice could be considered good according to defined SMART criteria. And GAS method is feasible within the time constraint of the clinic. The therapist can determine realistic goals and predict the expected treatment outcome as well as the probable level of goal accomplishment according to Kreshny, Passini in 2013. Meanwhile, for Article 2, the outcome measure used is Canadian Occupational Performance Measure, SMART Goal, GAS, and Assisting Hand Assessment, AHA. A recent study by Bakers 2021, the study has shown that the training was more effective on dexterity, box and block tests, and in making progress on functional goals, Canadian Occupational Performance Measure, than was lower extremity home-based training. Moving on to result. For Article 1, the result has showed the child managed to increase the number of steps carried out continuously during the training mediated by the humanoid robot. Unlike the typical non-motivational movement therapy, game-based robotic is an attractive way to induce the neuroplasticity, according to Berde in 2013. Meanwhile, for Article 2, results are not clearly stated as this is a protocol type of study, and based on previous study, increase in parental stress and a reduction of therapy compliance over time according to Peplow in 2013, and implicit motor learning is expected to lead to improve motivation for training in child according to Maxwell in 2017, and to a reduced burden on parents due to less needs for prompting their child to use the affected arm and hand properly. Next, study limitations. Article 1, previous study by Camo Rodriguez Emelda in 2021 involved the students and children with cognitive and intellectual impairment and children with motor disabilities, and both populations tend to have communication constraint and functional limit which can be conquered with communication strategies and supported by assistive technology. Nevertheless, to successfully enforce other and augmentative communication system, all parties, include parents and caregiver, must involve in the process. Therefore, the practice of communication system shouldn't be limited to the school or to the therapeutic setting. It is essential to make opportunities that permit its use at home, as the family is the key vehicle to have the assistive technology device applied in other more regular and lasting situations of life. Meanwhile, for Article 2, intensive therapy such as habit are often carried in situations that need one-to-one supervision by as an interventionist for few hours a day. Such extra practice model might not be proper for younger children and are unavailable in many societies and may be economically burdensome. Thus, the structure of intensive intervention form barriers between rehabilitation service and family. One way to avoid barriers is to adapt intensive clinical-based rehabilitations toward the child's characteristic atmosphere, according to FEAR in 2017. So, in conclusions, the intervention approach that I prefer the most is study by Butrigo in 2020, entitled A Motor Learning Therapeutic Intervention for a Child with CP through Social Assistive Robot. This is because this is the single case study, which is intensive, systematic investigation of single individual, group, community or some other unit in which the researcher examined in-depth data relating to several variables. Second is study setting, which is clinical setting, and translation of repetitive, goal-directed biofeedback training into clinical setting is both feasible and beneficial for patients with CP. And next, study procedure easy to conduct and doesn't require many parties, only require a child, NAO robot and therapist, in contrast to bimanual training which require many parties and supervision. And child in CP in this study were motivated during the therapy session and had positive interaction with the humanoid robot. And next, recent study by Baxilius 2018, the overall quality of the examined goals set in clinical practice could be considered good according to the defined SMART criteria, and guess method is feasible within the time constraint of the clinic. And the result was clearly stated in this study compared to protocol study, which has no result stated, as this study design only described how a clinical trial will be conducted. But this study had few limitations which can be overcome, which is previous study by Camo Rodriguez Emelda in 2021 that involved the student or child with cognitive and intellectual impairment and child with motor disability, and both populations tend to have communication constraint and functional limit, which can be conquered with communication strategies supported by assistive technology. Thank you for listening.